The APFL regular season is over, and we're getting ready for the playoffs. The Fanatically Real Redraft haven't reached the regional finals, and the final pairings in each region for the Grey Cup have been set. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel, the official apparel of the FSA. MJ already out there with us tonight saying, let's get this party started. I was actually trying to text you just before we went live because I was going to tell you, make sure you say something, draw attention to the slightly different look tonight. And I knew if anybody would do it, it would be you. But as I was trying to send you a message, Damien had said something earlier asking, did anybody else's Discord change? And it hadn't changed on my phone yet. It hadn't changed on my computer, but I just saw where the app did update. And all I was trying to do was to find you again to send you the message to ask about this. And I couldn't get back to it. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this new update, at least not right now. I'm not. I'll have to play around with it a little bit more. Hopefully there is a legacy way to be able to go back to this, because if this is going to be the new way, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it. Yours hasn't changed yet. Give it a little bit of time. Maybe it's doing it, like they do with TikTok, and it's a regional thing or something like that, or close out of the app and come back up. Metric says, yeah, my Discord changed too. Don't like it. I haven't got a chance to play with it enough to say if I like it or don't like it, but I can tell you my initial jerk reaction is, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think they were trying to make it look a little bit too much like some of the other apps that are out there right now, and Discord had a good thing going. They shouldn't have messed with it. So, hey, we know why everybody is here tonight. Everybody who's here probably wants to know what's going on in the APFL. I know over the last couple shows we have started and led off with the Fanatically Real Redraft. We're deep into the playoffs on those right now. We are going to talk about them here in a little bit, but let's talk about what's going on in the APFL. So the regular season has ended. And let's talk about those Week 13 updates. And let me see if I can get my background out of there a little bit. I sure messed that up. So, hey, so big talk in the town is the Cleveland Dogs finishing the regular season at 13-0. You can see there on the left-hand side in the middle. They beat the Pittsburgh Forge 110-69. So I'll hold it there for a second so you can all see those. Jason said, watching from the living room, check the phone, love the background. Appreciate it, Jason. So yeah, what I ended up doing was, for those that have been here in the man cave before, and I'll take this off for just a second and we'll blow myself back up. For those who have been here in the man cave before, I ended up rearranging things so I could be directly on with the TV now that is in the man cave, because before, as I was sitting here, I'd have to look up like this. Basically, this is the angle of my head to watch TV, and I wanted to be able to see it straight on. And I had 4 different ideas for the layout of this room. 3 of the 4 required me removing the couch that's up here. But for any of you who have been up here before, you all know that the wife has said that we will burn the house down before the couch gets out of here, because it was such a pain in the butt to get up here, so the couch will not go anywhere. So this was my settlement to myself. So as you can see, the coin op game is over here. The cubicles that used to be behind me are now in the opposite corner over there, where my arm is pointing. Straight ahead of me now is the TV, and then the couch is over on the side. So I was trying to figure out which angle I wanted to go best. Do I want to do it with this camera, or want to do it with the second camera? And I had it on this camera for a second. You know what? In fact, I think I might be able to do this while we're live. We'll go ahead and show it to you. So here is the other camera. So now I'm looking this way. You can see this direction. But it was covering up the FSA sign that I've got. So what I ended up doing was going with what you see now, so you can at least see the FSA sign over here a little bit while I was doing it. In fact, that came off the wall, was on the wall over here for a little bit. I put 2 new holes in the wall, and then I moved it over here. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a nice layout for Super Bowl Sunday. Um, what's funny is, as I say that I'm like directly aligned with the TV, but right on the other side of my computer screens now is where the love seat is at, where you can recline and stuff like that. So literally, you're in line with the TV, the love seats, then my computer. So we get more people up in front of us. The couch is still whatever the couch is. So Trevor's out there with us as well. Trevor, how are you, man? Um, so let's get back over to these games over here, and I apologize for going off on the way the new layout of the room is. But there are the playoffs for the AFC. Let's move over to the NFC, and you can see that game that is dead center of the screen between the Dirty Birds and the Pirates. Even though that shows 92-92, the game didn't actually end up in a tie. But what did happen was the smallest margin of victory in FSA history. So the Atlanta Dirty Birds get that win 92.94 to 92.92. Margin of victory just 0.02 points. So just amazing that happened. The camera you got switching, and you know what? It's funny, as I brought a third camera back with me from Ohio, and I was going to see if there was a way for me to get a third camera in there to maybe get another look. And I don't know. I haven't got a chance to play around with it too much. The computer didn't automatically pick up the camera. I don't know if the camera maybe doesn't work. Maybe the camera's too old for this computer. I don't know, but I'll have to play around with it a little bit later. So the regular season is over. My WL is definitely off on that. We're at on this one. Oh man, I changed the win losses on everything. Are you not 8-2? Did I miss somebody's? Oh, you know what? You are all absolutely right. I got all the win losses changed on the AFC, and I did not change the win losses on the NFC. Oh, and Damien is in King of the North. So yeah, we definitely know that those are not right, because Damien is actually the #1 seed in the playoffs, and it's showing 5-5 on there. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I apologize, NFC. So I got the records right for the AFC, but that is definitely not right for the NFC. Anthony, I appreciate you catching that for me. I apologize to everybody. Well, we're about to see what the records actually are, because I might not have got them right here, but I definitely got them right on the playoff brackets that we're getting ready to look at. So let's talk about the AFC first and try to forget about the NFC for just a second, since I messed that up. So here is your AFC playoffs. #1 team, Cleveland Dogs, like we mentioned already, finished the season undefeated, 13-0. That record is correct. What we're seeing, though, is in this first round, we've got a lot of teams that are playing against their divisional rivalry in this first round. So Denver and Vegas have already faced off twice this year because they play in the AFC West. And New England and Buffalo have already faced off against each other twice because they play in the AFC East. And then the other odd pairing that we have there is Miami and Houston. And they will round out the first round of the playoffs. So since Anthony called it out, unfortunately, we're not going to see Anthony's record on this because you didn't make it, brother. I'm sorry. But Green Bay did make it, and we just talked about them. They are 10-3. Those records that are on here are correct. So in the NFC side, we have also a couple of pairings from inside the divisions as well. First one being Carolina and New Orleans playing in NFC South, already played against each other twice this year. And then in the NFC West, we got Los Angeles and Seattle. And then in the kind of odd pairing that's over there, we got Washington as the #4 seed with the 7-6 record because they were the actual division winner. And then Minnesota, who finished second in the NFC North, ends up getting that #5 seed because Green Bay Cheesehead ends up getting the #1 seed coming out of the NFC North. I'm just adding drama with records. I still can't believe I did that. It's funny because I triple checked everything as I was going through it today. These brackets weren't even a thought that I was actually going to make today. And it just hit me that I thought it would be a really good look to have them on the screen tonight. Jason says the only time Cleveland will go undefeated. It would be amazing if he makes a run through the entire season and makes it through the playoffs and the APFL championship with 0 losses. That'd be pretty cool. And then MJ says, go Norseman, reclaim that. I mean, that's probably because you got a soft spot for that general manager. Damn, Anthony, why'd you have to call me out on that, man? I feel really bad that I messed your guys' records up like that. Man, I feel really, really bad. All right, so with that, we now have the Week 13 results we showed, even though I had the records wrong. We have the playoffs that we've shown from the AFC side and the NFC side. The very good question. Will seeding rearrange depending on what seed, aka Green Bay will play the worst seeding team? Yes, absolutely. We will reseed just like they do in the NFL. So let's say if Los Angeles ends up getting that win and they're the number 7 seed, they are the lowest possible seed. That is who you will play in the next round. So we will reseed based on whoever ends up winning this week. So very good question. Glad you asked. Let's see. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you. I still, you know what? Even though it won't matter after this week, I'm probably going to go in and fix that stuff anyways, just because it'll sit with me if I don't. So the other thing that we calculated outside of, see if I can make this happen right. The other thing that we calculated for the APFL, other than we've got the Week 13 results, we've got the playoff brackets, we got the question answered by Damien, or asked and answered to Damien about the reseeding, is we also know who the first 9 picks in each conference will be when we come to the rookie draft next year. So the way that we do it in the APFL, that way nobody can try to lay a goose egg or anything like that and try to work their way into the number 1 pick. We end up doing it based on potential points, not actual points scored and not actual record. So the 9 that got eliminated at the end of the regular season that did not make the playoffs, we just take their potential points and go from lowest to highest. And then that is the order for the rookie draft next year. So out of the AFC, we've got in order from 1 to 9, Jacksonville getting the number 1 overall pick, LA Warhorse, Kansas City Arrowheads, Pittsburgh Forge, Indianapolis Stallions, Baltimore Blackbirds, the New York Wings, the Cincinnati Cats, and the Tennessee Spartans. And you would think after 2 whole years of saying all of those things that wouldn't be so hard to remember as you're going across this, but when you only have acronyms on there, sometimes you got to dig into that database really, really quick to remember who these teams are. Let's go through them. On the NFC side, we got the Tampa Bay Pirates, the New York Mammoths, the Philadelphia Harpies, the Arizona Redbirds, the Atlanta Dirty Birds, Dallas Desperados, San Francisco Miners, the Chicago Monsters, and Detroit Pride. What's crazy about this one, if you go out and look at the standings, the Detroit Pride had the highest PP of anybody on the NFC side. And I didn't know if I compared it against the AFC side, but I'm going to assume in all of the APFL did not make the playoffs. So he ends up getting the number 9 pick in the first round. So let's talk about, let's shift. We're done with APFL now. Let's shift over to the Fanatically Real Redraft. And I'm going to do a little bit something different this time. We are actually going to share the screen here for this one instead. And I'm going to see if I can get you full screen so you can see it a little bit better. You know what? Let me see if we can even zoom in a little bit more on this so you all can see that slightly better. There we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the semifinals from each one of the regions as we are getting ready to have our final matchup between each one of the 2 teams in the redraft region. So the teams that win this week in each one of the regions will be the regional champions. So in the semifinal round of the Banshees region, we have the Average Joes knocking off one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year in the OVC, Espresso Men. And in the other pairing, we have Chaos knocking off Sean Edick. But all is not lost for these 2 teams that were eliminated from the semifinals. And I'll scroll down a little bit and show you why. There is a 3rd place game that is right there underneath the Banshees regional championship. So they will face off for the 3rd and 4th place game. The loser of this game will get their entry fee back, so $60. The winner of this will get their entry fee back plus a little bit more. So if you're in that 3rd place, 3rd, 1st, 4th place game for any of the regions, make sure you still set your lineup this week because you're playing for either $60 or $90. It's 1.5 times what you paid in this year if you end up winning it. So then we have the Average Joes and Chaos facing off against each other in the Banshees regional finals. In the Gold Dragon regional finals, we have another rookie in the Peach State Who Daddies facing the Land Sharks for the finals. two teams eliminated this past week were the New York Jackets and the Warbirds. They will be playing in the third, fourth place game. Let me see who we got over here for the comment. So the larger your PP is, the worse off you are. I'm not sure how many times that actually applies in life, but at least when it comes to the APFL, it is definitely true. In the Black Dragons regionals, it was one of only two regions that had 5 teams go to the big playoffs. The final pair there is going to be between the E-Thugs and the Lunatics. Lunatics out there right now. That's Anthony, who also let me know that the record was wrong on the APFL stuff. He is playing for a regional championship, playing against the E-Thugs, and in the third, fourth place game, we got the Power Claws versus the Nature Coast Colonials. In the Hydra's region, the other bracket that had 5 teams going to the finals, we had the Bearcats. We have the Bearcats and Music City Miracles playing for that regional championship, and then for the third, fourth place game, we have Mantis Mayhem versus Turd Ferguson. Love Turd Ferguson. That's such a great name. All right, let's move on to the Scorpions region. The finals of the Scorpions, Southwest Scorpions, will pit the Virginia Blackbeards against the Panthers. The winner of this game will be the last Scorpions regional champion, as the region will go under its new name next season of the Chupacabras. So this will be something to hold on to for whoever ends up being the regional champion. Know that you will be the last Southwest Scorpions regional champion. In the third, fourth place game, we got the Coolidge Scorpions versus the Horny Toads. And then in our final bracket in the links, we have the Maniacs find themselves on the brink of a regional championship. They just have to get past Louisville Sluggers. And in the third and fourth place game, we got the Mexican Midget against Adam Vial. And that will end our brackets for the regional playoffs and the third and fourth place games. But wait, there is more. So for those of you who don't know that might be watching this for the first time out there today, we ended up running too soon, maybe too soon. We ended up running a secondary tournament this year that we named the Grey Cup because of all of the extra Canadian members that we had join this year. Thank you to all of you. So what we ended up doing was, of any of the teams that didn't make the regional, so those were the teams that were 500 and above, we started the secondary tournament called the Grey Cup, and it's for any teams that were 500 and below. And basically running them simultaneously. If you ended up with 6 teams in your regional playoffs, we had 6 teams in the Grey Cup playoffs. If you had seven in your regionals, we had 5 in the Grey Cup. If you had 5 in your regionals, we had 7 in the Grey Cup. So those have all played down, and we are now in our regional finals for the Grey Cup as well. And I actually have a pretty bracket picture for each one of those. Let me get my face out of there again. So here is the Banshees Grey Cup regional finals. And what's funny is the number 1 and number 2 seeded teams coming in to this Grey Cup are the same teams that have now reached the finals in all of the regions except for one region, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But for right now, we got the Werebears number 2 facing Jamie, the number 1 for the Banshees Grey Cup. Somebody asked me earlier what happens with the winners of this one. We'll do the exact same thing that we're going to do for the large regional one, or the regional one that's playing for the money. We will take these 6 and we will put them on a 16 bracket, a 16 ladder, and then we will play them all the way down until we have one Grey Cup champion for the entire alliance. Here is the Black Dragons. We have the Lumbermen versus the Rum Runners. In the Gold Dragons, we have the Monarchs versus the Naughty Dogs. In the Hydras, we have the Garbage Points versus the Ohio River Monsters. This is the one region that we do not, I lied, this is the region that's still number 1 and number 2. I could have swore it was, it's because I got these out of order, that's why. Scorpions is the one that has the not number 1 and not number 2, and they should be in this slot, not the Lynx, but I must have not got my arrangement of these in order, Here we go. The Rochester Rabbits playing the Bad Omens, number 1 versus number 2. And here we go. The number 3 number versus number 4, Jerry Jones versus the Rock and Rollers. So good luck to all of those that are still in the Grey Cup as well. Can't believe I messed that up too. That's what happens when you take 3 weeks off from doing the show and you try to come back cold like this and you kind of mess a few things up. All right, so going into week 14 of the NFL, this is the part where we like to talk about the games that are in prime time. So tomorrow night we have Thursday night football. It's the New England Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are favored by 6 points right now. New England hasn't done anything that has impressed me for the last 3, maybe 4 weeks. I don't even know how. They're still in the league at this point now that Tom Brady is no longer a part of the Patriots. So I will be picking the Pittsburgh Steelers, mostly because I wanted to put this cool hat on. That's a sweet hat, right? So Steelers, I'm taking them. Sunday night football, we got Philadelphia at Dallas. That's going to be an amazing game. And surprisingly to me, Dallas is actually favored by 3.5 points. And then we have 2 Monday night football games that are going to be starting at the same time, the normal Monday night football slot. No West Coast start time for this one. We've got Tennessee at Miami. Miami favored by 13. And then we have Green Bay at the Giants. Green Bay favored by 6.5. We are down to our last 2 teams that are on bye for the entire season, and that is going to be the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. This is a great, Kevin, you need to come over and play sometime. I've only actually played, I think there's 3 or 4 versions of the game on there. I've actually almost only played the most recent one, which I think is like 2000. But it's a great game to play. The girls have played it. They're getting really good at it. In fact, the last time that I played late on there, she actually scored the first touchdown of the game. And it wasn't until most of the way for the 4th quarter before I came back around and actually got ahead of her. So she is getting quite good at it. Scary to say. I knew you would. I figure if there's any other Steeler fans out there that they would love this as well. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions while we're still sitting here for the next little bit about APFL. As we're getting ready to go into the playoffs, anything about the Fanatically Real Redraft or regionals, and anything about the Fanatically Real Redraft Grey Cup playoffs as well. This one I have to say this for the 6 of you that are still out there right now. Don't forget, we are reducing the size of Fanatically Real Redraft next year from 72 teams to what was originally thought was going to be 48 teams. However, as I put the information back out there again today, we had just a rash of people that decided to join. We were at 40 out of the 48 whenever I started writing the script mid-afternoon today, and at like 4:45 this afternoon, we got our 48th team. There are some teams out there that I know will still very much want to play in 2024, and we did set the deadline to 31 December. So what I'm going to end up doing is, yes, same thing, Anthony. After the regionals, everything will be reseeded. It'll be the top team will be playing the lowest seeded team. So when we get there, so after we get done with the regionals, and then we have the 6 remaining teams, here's how we're going to do that. Sean asked this question the other day. It will be record from the regular season and playoffs added together, and then if there is any ties, it will be total points. And it'll be points for, and it'll be points for from regular season and playoffs as well. So that will be how we seed as we're moving on to the World Championship. So the top 2 teams out of that, so either the top 2 records, or if there's a tie, top 2 records with most points for, that will be who gets the number 1 and number 2 seed and the first round buys as we move on to the Worlds. So just so everybody knows, a good question, another great question. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Here's the playoffs in the 2024 season. Definitely 2024 season. So that's why we're talking about this right now. So, again, 72 to 48. We got a 48. I know there's more people out there that want to join. I had a number in my head of the number of people that we were probably going to lose, and that was going to be 21. That would have taken us down to 51 teams, which is why I said 48. Thinking maybe we would lose more than I thought, but I also had in my mind that we could also increase to 60 if more people came back. I'm making the announcement now, and then I'm going to send out a league-wide email tomorrow as well, saying the same thing that I'm saying right now. Let's see how many more people we get in. We are still sitting at that 48. So that means we got 12 more teams to get in, which is another whole region. And I have no doubts that in the next 25 days, we'll get those last 12 people, especially hearing this tonight and then the email that goes out tomorrow. If you are hearing this tonight or later, if you're watching this later, and you do want to jump in for the 2024 season, make sure you DM me on Discord. That's the way I want you to come let me know. Don't send it out in the big group chat or whatever inside there or in a big channel. I'll miss it. Send me a DM. That way I'll find it. Hopefully I'll be able to find it now that Discord has decided to do some kind of crazy updates with its app. Next show will be next week. I can't see us not having a show every single week now, all the way to the rest of the season. I don't have any reason to run home to Ohio, and let's, knock on wood that nothing else happens that would take me away where I wouldn't be able to be here with you guys on Wednesday nights. So count on us being here at 8:30 p.m. East Coast time every Wednesday night now until the end of the season, and that includes after our season is over and we're still working through the NFL playoffs, because we will do the NFL playoff challenge again this year. The person that wins that will get a free entry into next year's Fanatically Real Draft, which we are rebranding and renaming the Wizard Redraft League. For those who did not know, you might have seen the WRL pop up. That is the new name of the Fanatically Real Redraft, which is a mouthful. We're going to just change it to the Wizard Redraft League. And the Walt logo that we've been using for a year or so now is going to be the logo for that league. So Wizard Redraft League in 2024. That's it. I want to thank Mondo and the boys from the recast, the official music of the FSA, and Brandon Valinka, the owner of Nature Coast Apparel, who is the official apparel of the FSA. If you're watching this and you still haven't liked, subscribed, follow us on all of the social media. We're still out there on Instagram. We just don't play on it as much. We're still out there on Facebook, still out there on Twitter or X. Just not on it very much anymore. Come find us on TikTok. We got a big project we're going to be releasing probably no later than Tuesday of next week. It's not NFL related this time, comic book related. So if you're a comic book fan, you might want to come out and check this one out. It's going to be pretty cool. That is it. We're at 27 minutes. I'm going to call it for the night. Let me know what you thought of the show back over on Discord. And if you have any additional questions that I didn't answer for you tonight, hit me up over there, and we will see you all next week. Good luck to everybody that is in the first round of the APFL playoffs, who are the regional finals for the Fanatically Real Redraft, and anybody who is in the regional finals for the Grey Cup. Good luck to you all, and we will see you next week.